Meanwhile, Hokori removing that Medusa would have been another tool to try and get sort of out from under the thumb of that Chaos Knight. So Hokori are keyed in on exactly what they want to do here. They've got one last band to work with, and at this point, ET, what else are they looking for from the carry position to ban out?
Well, of course, I'm thinking of heroes that the CK is not going to want to play against. CK, he typically wants a hero or doesn't want to play versus any hero that can just simply leave the fight. If any hero can walk away, unfortunately, CK is kind of the best at a lot of things. That's why this is kind of an incredible pick for them. I'm trying to think of carries that Eternity can pull out right now. Honestly, a lot of carries don't come to mind, but there are heroes like Necro, like Zeus, like anything that is just going to slow them up is honestly another good option for them. The problem is no matter what they go for, even if they go for, let's say, a Lifestealer, for instance, I was going to mention the Monkey King, just so that way maybe you make this offlaner's life just a little bit sadder with the bans coming in through, but unless they get something active that's going to get on top of this CK early, you can't really out-illusion a CK. We could see them go for a hero like maybe the Terrorblade, just someone who doesn't care too much, is a ranged hero, builds a Scotty, makes it difficult to kind of approach the fight, but then of course you're real slow. You've got good ways to get the illusions out onto the waves, but it's where I'm worried about the stat gain. I'm worried about playing versus this Tiny, because right now, if this Avatos lands on top of you, and you're maledicted, well, you're done. You're just not going to survive that. The control is just so incredible on Hokori's side. You're going to need a BKB, but you also just can't man-fight the CK anymore. The bans are just too perfect.
And this is looking so much like what they did in game one as well, right? They had the damage, they had the durability, they had the lockdown, so that your opponents basically have to choose. You're not going to be able to draft something that deals with all of this. You kind of have to pick your poison here. As Eternity's final ban, not a bad one. They removed the Viper, which, yeah, was, I suppose, still in there. Vitali, I feel like Vitali doesn't play the Viper quite as often as some of the other offlane heroes, but he's still very much, or offlane players rather, but still very much capable of it, and Viper just ruins everything all the time.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of what we're going to see from Vitali here, but the one hero that came to mind, the one hero that might be able to do something in this game, maybe we see the Alchemist. Maybe we see that come through. Maybe that's the linchpin here for Eternity. Maybe that can turn it all around here.
Oh,
But Faceless Void, okay, that's very different. That throws a lot of things in the air actually here, because now are we still going to keep our Kunkka? I mean, it's got to be Analog Kunkka though, right? I feel like that's a giveaway, but swapping that CK possibly over to the 3 position, CK is just such a good hero. People forget about it. He gets pushed to the side in the meta a few times here and there, but when you're not actively getting buffed or nerfed, you're just still good. You're still just good. And, well, let's see. 25 seconds left. Do Eternity, do they gamble? Do they go for something like the Alchemist? They need someone who's going to buy BKB, get involved early on here. Keep that chaos that a Visage can create in these team fights. I feel like Alex probably their best bet here. It's not like they're picking Lycan or Razor or anything like that, but if they kind of whiff here on this pick, it could be a very decisive victory for Hokori.
I don't think you're going to get anyone who necessarily survives a full duration Chronosphere. The Lifestealer, though, maybe, but if you get caught out, obviously you're not infested into anything, and you can't pop the Rage while you're chronoed, so CDR is going to have to be incredibly careful, especially considering in a Chronosphere, they have basically no save. If Ray's close enough and has the cast range, maybe something happens, but other than that, he's kind of going to be on his own.
Yeah, and yet again, we need to see a great early game from this Void Spirit. We need to see them get active on those side lanes. As we usually talk about, if those supports can get those early level 6, if Ray doesn't need the tome, that's going to be your perfect situation where you just hopefully win that lane with the Lifestealer. It's so hard now because, well, Vitali is playing CK with a 4-position Tiny. It's double melee versus a ranged Bane and a Lifestealer, so that lane should maybe go a little bit more successful for them, but then pushing that advantage, but not going too late. You don't want to go ultra late versus this Yuma Void. I think Yuma, it's one of those player combos where past 45 minutes, I don't think he's dropped a game on the hero. It's where he feels so safe in those late game decisions that you just kind of win out of pure virtue of having him on that selection. Not the most damage they can dump into that chrono, but honestly, they have enough tools. They've got a boat, they've got that Plague Ward that they can throw in. It's enough to kind of make it work. Not the most active carry, I want to say, swapping that CK Witch Doctor lane to a Witch Doctor Void lane, but still, I feel like if we do see this game go too late after Eternity might be able to win out these lanes, the game could get real hairy real fast.
And I think the most important thing there, you mentioned they don't have a crazy amount of damage to throw into the chrono. There is no hero on the Eternity side that I think you have to kill in a chrono's duration to take a fight. They can afford to throw it down, get what damage they can throw out with Yuma, and then sort of set up for another secondary engagement once the chrono's gone.
Yeah, and that's where chaos factors, as I like to call them, like the tiny with the blink dagger, where you get those toss backs where you don't need it to be a chrono. If you can just displace a hero, you can get him on the wrong side of the fight. You have to use your astral steps defensively. You have to rebound. You have to leap away. It's where Eternity, they're a little slow. They've got some mobile aspects to these heroes, but if you get them on the wrong side of things, is Tiny could be a crushing component of these team fights. Not to mention, gotta see those grips actually get off here. If we see, again, those easy rotations, first 15 minutes in the game, it's not like you're playing versus a silencer, you're not playing versus an invoker, there are no dispels. They should land. You just need to account for every spell that's being used in these team fights, and then you find your moment.
Well, game 2 officially underway here. Hokori with the 1-0 lead, looking to follow in the footsteps of Dogchamp and Mad Kings and make a clean 2-0 sweep here. On the other side of things, Eternity hoping to be the first squad in the event so far to actually force a third game. It has been all sweeps so far, and, well, it's a trend Eternity would certainly like to see come to an end here, but we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Just a couple seconds away from those bounty spawns. We'll see if there's any fighting. Yuma getting in there. Not going to actually get the rune, though, and, well, Time Walk level 1. What a spell. Just walk off all that damage, and the cooldown doesn't really matter, all things considered, because he's just making his way to lane.
Yeah, and of course, laning versus the Visage and Mars, he needs to be a little bit careful here. If you end up eating that Soul Assumption, you pretty much have to walk it off, and of course, early levels ain't the prettiest for this Faceless Void, but that's where this mid lane, though, Tidebringer, very obnoxious. Fixer can only dodge so much damage when it comes to actually getting away from those Tidebringers. It's where, unfortunately, the Puck is maybe a little bit more equipped for dealing with this hero, but we already saw in the last game that the Puck really falls off versus the Kunkka past that boat phase. But we'll have to see, because Analog, he's the one who kind of has to win this one. Got to make his stats look nice.
But he is the Kunkka specialist, as you saw there on the comparison. That win rate even higher after taking game 1, and then a little bit higher in comparison to the Void on the other side as well for Fixers. So it's what he's comfortable with. It's what he's found success with in the past. As back up top, Moonlight getting hit up a little bit. Tries to jump back in, though, directly onto Gardic. That's a nice little bit of burst damage. Can Gardic actually survive? No, he can't. Soul Assumption number 2. It gets in there to finish the job, and Isla picks up first blood. Yeah,
they really nerfed Soul Assumption by knocking off 5 damage per charge. Not really a great spell anymore. Yeah, that really did a lot. But, yeah, no, it's easy. It's something that the Void himself needs to be very cautious of, especially when Time Walk is a 20-second cooldown or however bad it is. This bot lane, though, you see with El Misho getting the tree grab level, not something you typically see, but he knows he's just going to be battling for range CS pretty much in this lane.
No. First blood over to Eternity. Meanwhile, mid, not a bad job in terms of the last hitting early on. And down bot, CDR, well, he's getting hit up a little bit here, but it's the Lifestealer. He should be able to sort of sustain himself a little bit better once he gets some more levels, and especially if Ray can actually create some more space for him. The Bane, almost always sort of a solid hero to do exactly that as he gets the Nightmare down. Unfortunately, yeah, he's still there to physically block that stack, but if the Bane can be disruptive, if the Bane can keep El Misho off of his carry, then CDR is going to be feeling just fine.
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, Gardic.
Oh, more bullying.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay, hold on a second. That cask bouncing quite nicely. Gardic with a little bit of extra help from the RNG there. Survives while bottom lane. CDR, well, I said he was going to be feeling fine if his Bane could keep the Tiny off of him. That is not how it went down, though. They get right up in his face, and Vitali finds the first kill for the Hokori side.
Yeah, and of course, something we're not too afraid of seeing, honestly. It's just the Q, the Chaos Bolt, it got nerfed, the ranges got changed slightly, but it still does so much damage if you get lucky on the rolls. It's harass that you can't really deal with, but Vitali's rocking it right now. He's having a real nice early game here, but there you go. They found their way into Gardic. Even though you do have that time dilation, it just does not matter enough. The damage is done. Yuma's trying to be a good guy here. I mean, he's nearly full HP, but it's just an easy kill for them to make, especially with him so far up in the lane.
And that is one of the beautiful things about this Marcy pick. She just can suddenly be in your face from so far away as the Dispose hits Yuma. He's going to be able to time walk off some of that damage, but the Soul Assumption's still there. There's the rebound right on cue, allowing Moonlight to keep the fight going, but Isla doesn't quite have the health or the mana at that point to keep it going. So they're forced to back away, but they are not backing down from any of these engagements.
No, and really, they don't need to. Yuma is going to get a little bit more efficient with his spells in just a few minutes here, but oh boy, bottom's not so pretty. And Yuma is still farming, even though they are finding their kills onto the Witch Doctor. At the end of the day, not really stalling up the Void too much. He still has a lot of base damage to last hit versus the Visage as well, so he's not really able to fight for too many of those last hits. And okay, this is nice, filling up Fixer's bottle, but I feel like right now Hokori are still maybe getting just a slight edge out of these lanes.
Taking a look at the last hit counts, that certainly appears to be the case. Slight edge in most positions as Fixer's forced to dodge. Rotation in from El Misho does not connect, but, well, I was going to ask, does Vitali try to do anything here? But his own support is out of lane as well, so this isn't really anything he can work with. He's just going to try and farm. Meanwhile, back up in the top lane, Gardic getting hit up once again. He will be falling. Can Yuma do anything to get a return kill? I'm not really sure that he can. Meanwhile, Fixers actually gets taken down solo in the middle lane. Analog just, once again, kind of gets the better of him, just like we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, Analog's just really good. He's just really sick with it. I think just glyphing the wave, getting in the face of that Void Spirit, getting through that shield, maybe just popping a little bit sooner than the Void expected, and then Fixer gets punished 2 games in a row. It's unfortunate. See if maybe they get the game here, because you do not want to be the one that got soul killed twice in game.
And, oh, well, we got a little bit of a break in the action here. Another word from Thunderpick. Topping up your balance on Thunderpick, don't forget to use promo code BITCOIN. Get 100% up to 500 euros on your deposit as a bonus. So thank you once again to Thunderpick as, well, we cast our gaze back down to the bottom lane here where the Tiny was kind of trying to stagger his approach. Meanwhile, well, thought for a moment there was a fight breaking out. Oh, there's the fight. Yuma gets tossed back. He's able to time walk it off, though, so he's going to be just fine, but that is a constant threat. As long as Moonlight's in the lane, you've got to be careful, because Dispose has a remarkably high cast range.
Yeah, it's a little bit startling, even more startling when you get items like Aether Lens, and then you're just across it. Even the Keen Optic is enough to sometimes spoil a game from you, but that's where Analog... Oh, look at that. He's mean. He's brutal. He's got this stacked small camp as well. Even clips Fixer on the way out, and Fixer, he's just completely bullied off, so now the Analog gets this camp. I mean, this is just Kunkka making the game easy for his team right now, because he's level 6. He's about 20 last hits ahead of that Void Spirit. Need to be so careful on the map. If he ever stops showing and his wave is always pushing in because he's the Kunkka, you can start seeing Analog get really aggressive, especially once we get level 6 on Yuma, that Chrono being there for the assurance. It'll be a real easy kill.
Meanwhile, support's doing a little bit of fighting there in the jungle. Ray, well, he's going to get some free damage while Omisho's put under by the Nightmare, but I just feel like we haven't seen too much of an impact from the Bane just yet. Obviously, once he hits level 6, that changes a little bit, but pre-level 6, his lane presence hasn't maybe been where Eternity had been hoping for when they drafted it.
Yeah, and not really able to accelerate anything just yet. It's where, unfortunately, in that Lifestealer, don't have that kill threat. It's the same thing on the other side of the map where the Witch Doctor would love a more aggressive opponent, but it's where CDR, he can't do much versus the Tiny and the CK. They're just a little bit too tanky. It's a little bit too easy for them to walk away, and it's not like a Nightmare is really setting up for much. It's just setting up for you to phase boot and hit them. It's not that fearsome of a play to be made, but...
They are TPing the supports up top, though, so maybe the numbers advantage can do them some good here, but Moonlight... Okay, that rebound seemed a little bit early, but they still haven't revealed Ray's presence, so might be just trying to bait things in. The problem is, even though they don't know that Ray's top yet, they certainly know he's not bottom, so they did try to push in. That forces the infest, and now everything's just getting broken up. Moonlight actually gets taken down. That was a slightly unnecessary chrono, but better safe than sorry. They take Moonlight down, and the Marcy is not going to be here to help out anymore. So the numbers advantage wasn't much of an advantage, ET, considering the Kunkka sort of came over as well.
Yeah, but looking over at mid as well. And we'll check that in a second. Gardic, he's a handsome fella. Even more handsome in real life, if you could believe that. But yeah, it's a pretty good win rate.
Impressive win rate for a Witch Doctor. Normally you're kind of just a punching bag a lot of the time. Is okay. Eternity, they were able to find something for themselves as Almisho does get picked off there, and I don't know in 100% where that boat was sort of supposed to land, but I feel like that was maybe a little off the mark, excuse me, as Isla getting himself hit up in that top lane as well. He did drop the familiars down, but it was still able to sort of bounce the cast between them as Yuma continues to chase. Maledict might just do the job itself. No, Almisho wants the kill. He is going to be able to get it. And Hokori strike quickly. 5-4 in terms of the kill lead. Doesn't look too scary if you're Eternity, ET, but it's the net worth that's sort of creeping up and away from them. 3k lead already for the Hokori side.
Yeah, and really a lot of that is just stacked onto the Kunkka. He's been so efficient with his farming rotations, even top. Didn't expend his boat. They just used the chrono, and of course Yuma, he wants his chrono on cooldown, so that way he doesn't have an excuse whenever he doesn't TP to the fight, but that's where Analog has not skipped a beat. Of course, unfortunately before, did lose Almisho to the haste on that Void Spirit, but again, Isla didn't know where the Tiny was, so Almisho, I don't even know if he needs the toss back. You do lose Gardic again, but this is your die, respawn, die, TP in, not nice for the Visage.
Yeah, Moonlight's kill is a nice sort of consolation prize, although maybe they can get more. TP in from Fixers, so they will clean up Almisho, getting both of the supports there, but still coming at a pretty hefty cost with the Visage being punished. You take a look at his net worth, ET, he is well down that list.
Yeah, he's struggling. You would almost say he's on par or close. At least he's better than the Tiny, but then you realize that Tiny is Almisho, and Almisho is already dying, I think, 3 times, so not where you want to be in Fixer. Even though he did get that kill, he spent time out of the mid lane, the cart's here, your Kunkka is immediately running back at you. It's not nice to be this Void Spirit. Every time that Kunkka aggresses onto you with the X, of course it's a 50 mana spell, you end up using a more expensive spell on the Void Spirit side, and with the Glyph, they're looking to pressure here. Gardic gets the Tome as well because Almisho's been roaming, so he's not too afraid of being a little bit lower level, but no defense coming out from Eternity just yet. They're looking for a play onto the Void Spirit. They gave the Tome themselves over to that Bane, but can Yuma dodge out? Nope.
Nope. They got the Fiend's Grip down. They need the damage. Moonlight popping the ult, trying to get in there, hitting as hard as he can. Will it be enough? Yes, it will. Yuma goes down. Gardic's TP a little bit late. Analog's into the fight, though. X into Ghost Ship, into Torrent, into Maledict, and the cask stun, but Gardic's getting punished a little bit here as well. Moonlight is just going to try to lead the charge. I think he knows it'll cost him his life. The question is, will it cost him his teammates' lives as well? And the answer is, yeah, it will. They lose Isla. They lose Ray. And now they might just lose the Void Spirit as well. Fixer's not going to be able to get out. Reality Rift pulls him back in. They hit him up with a stun, just bashing away as Vitali. And, well, that's not quite what they were hoping for. That's probably stating the obvious, but it was looking okay when it was just kill the Witch Doctor and get out. The problem is, ET, the get out part never actually happens. They got 1 gold.
Yeah, and Gardic, I mean, absolutely carried the fight. Hit the double Maledict, had the perfect micro of the ward as well. Unfortunately, goes down. If he didn't go down, he'd look even cooler, but it's still exactly what they needed. A lot of gold, a lot of XP, a lot of gold falling into that Tiny's lap as well. Even though you do lose Yuma, honestly, you're not going to be pressed if you're Hokori, because the rest of the lineup is just laughing all the way to the bank. And at the end of the day, they still got that mid tower. That objective was taken. They got to take that tower. It's why they didn't respond to Yuma probably crying that he's getting gripped or that he's getting chased down by these heroes, because they wanted that mid tower. Then they help out Yuma. If Yuma dies in the meantime, okay, I guess we could do a little bit better next time, but it's fine for now. And CDR,
no.
The Orchid reveal. Oh, it's just too easy.
He has nothing. No help. No, I mean, actually couldn't even go for the infest play. Didn't have any creeps. Andy was silenced the whole time, so just a perfect sort of collapse. They come in from 4 different directions there. They find the kill, and that's going to open up a potential push onto this tier 1 bot. Yuma's not looking overly interested in it at the moment, though, so it might be a little bit slower. But at this point, they're really starting to spread out and take control.
No, it's real tough. It's really difficult now because you want to kill the hero occupying this dead lane in Elmisho. Needs to be a little bit careful. There is a rebound into a dispose and coming in. Here's Analog, but will this be in time? There is a both though,
That's
and look
a
at that.
lot of TPs.
Okay. See ya, Mars.
Moonlight offered up on the sacrificial altar. Fixers, does he not have a TP or is it on cooldown? Cooldown, okay. So he's just going to chill in the tree line for a couple extra seconds before he makes his way out of here. But now, well, there's a potential play. Oh, no play bot. They just shut it down with the chrono. They spotted the TP. There's going to be that death ward coming in. Not actually enough damage just yet. Now the Fiend's Grip onto Yuma allows them to turn it. They bring Yuma down. Gardic is not really in a good spot either as Fixer's TP's in to finish that kill. It is going to come at a cost elsewhere on the map as Vitaly gets a kill onto CDR, but ET, I think you have to be okay with that considering what they get in response.
Oh, for sure. Just a little bit of an overextension, but it ends up paying off in the end. Unfortunately, Moonlight, he might not be so happy. Does need the connection from Vitaly to actually get this kill, though, and okay. He's got a teammate. He's got friends. Nice dodge, too. Okay, okay.
What a weird interaction. Okay. He's able to get away. Fixers makes it out. Maybe Ray gets caught up, too, but Vitaly's actually not going to chase that far, so... Oh, well, now we know why. He's not chasing that far because he's looking mid, pulls Fixers back in. He does get off the Dissimulate, though, and, well, you can't dodge that. Analog just hits him with the Tidebringer. They will find the kill, and now they're looking for a little bit more. Moonlight didn't actually make the full retreat when he had the chance, so they're going to be able to lock up another kill, and now Isla and CDR got to be careful about this. Yuma's not here, so you don't have any sort of chrono threat, I suppose, but this still isn't an easy kill to pick up. You see CDR just hacking away at Analog, but he's not really bringing him down, and now the Ghost Ship turns around. They get the silence onto him. The Nightmare has to come through to make sure the Death Ward's not doing damage to him, but it still doesn't matter. They find the kill anyway. Now they turn their attention onto the Visage. They'll bring Isla down as well, and Eternity are just being baited into so many of these engagements, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, it's a 4-man wipe. It's a 15-minute Blink Dagger on the Tiny. It just kind of comes out of nowhere, blindsides them. And yet again, fantastic ulti from Gardic. This Witch Doctor is just accomplishing so much for them. It feels like it's been so long since I've seen Gardic actually play that Witch Doctor. He's so hell-bent on playing melee 5s that you don't always get the treat that is him playing just a normal support. But they're forcing themselves into these fights. But it's so tough in CDR. Okay.
Pops the Rage and falls back. Sidekick applied to him as well here, just to make sure everything's going to be okay. That's an X onto a Familiar. So they will blow that up. 100 gold in their pockets, and a potential resummon forced out from the Visage, who... There we go. Just got it back off cooldown. So he is going to be able to resummon, but he's not going to be able to do anything to save his teammate. Ray gets pulled back in and taken down. Analog nets the kill, and this should be a relatively easy push onto the tier 2 mid, although... The way they're angling towards bot, it looks like they want to go hunting for another kill instead, because Isla is right in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, it just showed Amisha's got to do it blind, but okay, he actually does get out. Didn't think he was necessarily making that fast a rotation out, but there is still a problem that, unfortunately, Eternity don't really have a great way of answering, and that is Vitaly. He's level 13. He has 2 illusions. He's, I want to say, the real carry of Hokori at this moment, just because Yuma isn't really able to do all too much just yet, but everything just feels so easy for them. And the Snakes, when are we going to see our lifestealer? Is it at Maelstrom? Is it a Satanic? Where are we actually going to see him make a play? Because right now, it's hiding.
Yeah, he just has not had the build-up that they were hoping for, and that gap is starting to get a little bit wider. You take a look there, Yuma's kind of close to the Void and the Lifestealer, but the CK and the Kunkka are just massively outpacing every other person in this game, and that is an active gold lead that they're going to be able to turn into more objectives and more teamfight wins. And I don't know, DT, at this point, if you're Eternity, what are you waiting for? What is the game changer for them in terms of an item, in terms of a level? What are they looking at?
I mean, unfortunately, it's not coming from your Void Spirit, because he's had to get a Yule Scepter, so it's not your Ag's timing. That'll come later. I feel like it's got to be the Wraith Pact coming in from the Visage, and usually you'd want an aggressive item to be that difference maker, but anything that can drag these fights out. But, oh no, it's more magic damage. He Yep.
Okay. Timing's a little bit off, but they still have the damage, and CDR Not dead yet, able to infest. They're going to try and turn the fight around. They managed to stun up Gardic, so they will cancel that ult, and now the infest bomb comes through, dealing the damage. Analog dropping low. Yuma, though, trying to get involved. Does he have the chrono? Yes, he does, but he didn't throw it down in time. They do still lose Analog, but look at all the damage that they've got. They've got the lightning procs even bouncing between all of those heroes, ET. It doubles or even triples the damage output, and they just clean up not quite everyone. Ray might be able to get away with the TP, and he will do so, but that is still a clear-cut loss on the team fight.
Yeah, and it is not the prettiest thing yet again from Hokori. They don't get that pullback, they don't get to burst out the lifestealer, but still, that was the most damage in their fight, was just keeping him alive as long as possible, but you can't ask for much better chronos than that. That hit absolutely everything. That was exactly what they needed. Well, there goes your point booster. It's unlucky for the Void Spirit here, but look at the placement of this chrono as well. This is just insane. He was trying to wait for Analog as long as he possibly could, and of course he misses Ray at the end of the day, but this is exactly what he needed, even for Fixer on the edge, so Vitaly can actually A-click in that chrono. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Unbelievable placement, right? First of all, hitting 3 heroes on a chrono, already hard, but to get those 3 heroes spread out at the exact edge is almost unintentional. I don't know. I mean, we'll give Yuma the benefit of the doubt there, but that is a 1 in a million kind of shot, and that's not even mentioning, I say, 3-man chrono. Technically, it was a 4th because Moonlight was caught in the middle. He just wasn't really the primary target.
No, and it's not even that. It's just them still occupying 90% of the map. We only saw it at the end there because Vitaly was the last guy in the room, but he's got a Blink Dagger of his own. And unfortunately, Hokori, they just have playmaker after playmaker here. Ooh. Nice TP out from Moonlight, but it's where we don't have that same level of activity on Eternity's side just yet. This Roche, however, is a little bit early. There's no BKB on Analog. They have to go in, and Yuma could die.
Okay, they blow him up right away. Now, what's the response? Moonlight's dropping low. They're going to be able to take him down. Analog, though, still trapped in the pit, trying to keep himself alive as long as possible. Turns around for the right click. That's enough to take down Isla, but it's down to Vitaly to try and actually grab the Aegis here, although with El Misho coming back in, the Avalanche going to play a large role, stunning up everyone, but CDR gets the Aegis. It's immediately popped, though, but at least they keep it out of their opponent's hands. The question now, can he just go for the Rage TP? Yes, he can. So, damage mitigated, I suppose, right? Because the Aegis doesn't go into your opponent's hands, but they still had to scramble so desperately to get in there.
Yeah, and you still are just throwing your bodies at your opponent. Still were able to, at the very least, kill the Kunk and the Void Spirit. Got a lot of XP going your way, which is massive for you. Unfortunately, though, Vitaly is the third core in this game. He is basically another carry you're going to have to deal with, and he's not real easy to deal with. You just weren't able to get enough to counter out those CK illusions in the draft. Really, at least you got the Lifestealer out. So you took the Aegis, you took the objective off. We'll have to see how they go forward here. No Moonlight. Okay, we're good.
He's fine. He's fine. In the meantime, another word from our sponsor, Thunderpick. Topping up your balance on Thunderpick, don't forget to use promo code BITCOIN for 100% up to 500 euros on your deposit bonus. Thank you once again to Thunderpick.
But let's see. How are we going to get ourselves back into this game, Eternity? They've got a nice little smoke up bottom. Another play with the grip, but Gardic is so obnoxious. Right place, right time. Really great vision bottom, but with him seeing the Void Spirit, they know something's up, so they're not going to come down here without being in mass or without changing the heroes. I think the Void would much rather be farming safely in his jungle and then swapping out with Vitaly, but did they get a glimpse of Ray here? This is all feel at this point. If that sentry was just marched up a little bit more, look at that.
Living life on the edge for Ray. He could look for the TP out at this point, but, well, he's also getting a decent amount of information here if he just sticks around while his opponents are here. And, oh, wait, hold on, El Misho. Yeah, he's pinging it out, I think. Or Gardic was, but El Misho did get popped immediately, so they do know he's still here.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, Ray, what a hero. I mean, honestly, okay, he dies, who cares? He got all that info, and he stopped a smoke gank from going down elsewhere on the map.
We'll have to see, though.
Although the gank might still happen.
Yeah.
Oops.
And Vitaly is level 18, so here come the boys.
That is unfortunate. The Bane's just sitting there like, boys, I died for nothing now. This isn't great, but They're going to hunt. No, they're not. Okay. Thought for a moment Yuma was looking to commit that chrono, but I don't think he was quite close enough. So they will hold that in reserve. But ET, the lead just keeps on climbing up for Hokori.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what this Ogre Axe is necessarily destined for. Of course, easy answer is Assange, but is it going to be Assange and Yasha? Is it going to be the Halberd just to give you some evasion to play versus these heroes hounding you? It's real tough if you're the Nyx. At least you have a Deso, so something to play around considering Analog doesn't have the workings of his AC just yet in this game here, but okay, Moonlight, just harassed. He's got a Blink Dagger. He's fine. Analog didn't do that in the cleanest fashion, but this is also Analog just putting pressure elsewhere on the map, but they know he's not here. It has to be Vitaly. He needs backup. They need to disable both these heroes, though.
Okay, nice bit of damage to start onto Vitaly. They do manage to lock down Misho as well inside the Fiend's Grip, so they'll take down one. They get the secondary kill. Now they're on to Gardic looking for a third. And they should clean that up as well. There we go. The Fixers gets the last bit of damage in with the Remnant, and they do that pretty damn cleanly. So as you said, you know, you see the Kunkka up top, you have to know that he TP'd up there in the first place, so he can't TP back down, and they take probably the best fight we've seen from them so far.
Yeah, that's where Hokori, they make a little bit of a Hokori mistake, right? They either need to not show the Kunkka top, or as soon as they show the Kunkka top, they need to not be bottom, or maybe they just don't even bring the Kunkka top, because clearly they wanted to be situated in that bottom area. It's why he ended up going there, because there really isn't much to be gained up here aside from the gold, but even this tier 1 is not the most important objective with Roche being gone, but Yuma
CDR.
finding CDR is pretty huge. He's just trying to buy his talisman. That is real unfortunate. Just an ounce of greed getting punished in his bones.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable, right? I mean, the secret shop's right there. Might as well just try and grab it as quickly as you can, and you end up getting a chrono to the face for your trouble. So, unfortunate for CDR, but time is being bought if nothing else, ET, right? Eternity are trying to draw this match out as they did the last time around, and we are starting to see some items. Aghanim Scepter picked up there by the Void Spirit, so maybe they can be a little bit tougher in these fights, but not if they're going to lose heroes like this. Never mind. Not going to lose the hero at all. Moonlight, though, jumps in. Initiation onto Amisho. There's Yuma pushing forward. Doesn't have the chrono, but he's still an intimidating presence. But Fixers wants in. They caught Yuma. They pull him back inside of the Remnant. They're going to be able to just blow him up entirely. They get Gardic immediately after, and now they want more. But Vitaly is here. They've got to be careful. They get the stun down onto Fixers. Defensive Nightmare, though, is going to buy him a little bit of time. It won't be enough. Vitaly finds the first kill. Now looking for Isla. They get him in the X. Killed him off before the boat even connects, though, as Vitaly picks up the double. And now they're looking for a little bit more. I think they know Ray's here. They just need the vision. There's the sentry placed. And Vitaly makes it 3 straight, as his presence completely alters the trajectory of that fight.
Yeah, and Vitaly, he's still living on the edge, not buying a BKB, not really wanting to care about that at all, but Orchid silences are so good in this game right now, so he picks up one of his own.
What the?
Okay, nice little smoke, maybe a little misclick there. I don't even know what was going on with that, but hey, if you can kill the supports, they're doing their job. Gardic's still getting caught up by those birds. It's what the birds need to do in this fight, but it's just this issue where CDR still can't stick on anyone for too long before he just gets shredded apart. Maybe once he has a Basher, maybe once he has an AC after that, we can see him actually fight, but oh no, boy. It's Orchid into other Orchid, into stun. Let's see it.
Not dead yet, but there's really nothing to be done there. He can buy some time, but not for any sort of follow-up play. As up top, Moonlight tries to go for the rebound play, getting himself out. Can they hit him up in time? No, they can't. The Maledict is ticking, though. Shouldn't be enough. Okay, he survives. Pop the Fairy Fire just in case, so he will live there. But now, oh man, more fighting. Isla gets caught out really on the steps of his own base, ET. Nowhere is safe right now for this Eternity roster as they're just getting run at.
Yeah, and there is still a glyph, but they were just not ready for their Life Stealer to die in the fashion that he did. Just getting ran out of his own triangle is completely caused Eternity's map to be lopsided right now. They want to be set up on these sides. They want to be on these kind of pathways out of the map. I mean, look at all the vision Ray has top. He would love to get a cheeky play here, considering right now Hokori are playing in all 3 lanes. They are everywhere right now. So that's where, if in your Dota mind, a weakness should present itself like Gardic. And it looks like Gardic will get punished here, but you just hope that it's a bigger fish. Oh, the dodge.
Okay. He does still die, but the think that was the switcheroo play, sort of keeps him alive for a little bit longer, and now... Okay. They TP CDR up, they go for the infest, they go for the smoke, and they are on the hunt. And ET, this feels like a moment where Eternity, regardless of the current momentum in this game, feel like they have a chance to shift the balance a little bit here. They're down by 15k, but this is the strongest they've been in quite some time.
Let's see, it's the Ags on the Void Spirit going in, but Moonlight, he's gone, and now they get to choose the rest of the fight. El Misho didn't even go down.
Well, said it was the strongest they've felt in a while. Just because they feel strong doesn't mean they are strong. As Fixers gets pulled in and blown up, Vitaly with the double. They're going to look for Isla as well. They hit him up with the silence into the Reality Rift. Triple now for Vitaly as he's just taking over. And boy, we're not going to talk about that one. But even with the whiff, it's still a teamfight win for Hokori. There was a buyback, though, from Moonlight. So Eternity, we're thinking maybe we have a high ground defense if Hokori continue to push, but that won't be the case.
Yeah, it just kind of ends up petering out. We still have this one issue where we can't stay on a target for too long, but okay. It's going to get dragged back now. He still has the grip, and Analog is going to get gripped up, but look at that. Gunning for Gardic. He's going to get 4-shot pretty much here, but then Vitaly's back into the fight. They need to do something to the CK before he heals to full.
They're just trying to get CDR out at this point. That's the priority, and they do manage to do so. As Fixers comes in to act as the taxi, the problem is that leaves Moonlight behind, and Moonlight, who just bought back, is now on the sideline for over a minute, and his net worth already wasn't great, ET, but now it's just kind of shot entirely.
Yeah, it's where you're not going to see an Aetherlands, maybe for a few more minutes. You're not going to see a Ghost Scepter or Force Staff coming out to make this Marcy's life any easier. And you're still actually chilling in the Void Spirit right now. There's still a bomb ready to explode, but do you really want to go forward right now? Is that really going to be your best option here, or do we just need to give up and farm? Very fortunate for Eternity that the Roche wasn't already up. Otherwise, that's where Hokori would be right now. But unfortunately, it's going to be a full reset. Next batch of items completed by Hokori's side. Eternity still clawing for any progression.
Starting to fall further and further behind. Nearly a 20k deficit that they are sort of staring down at the moment. But... well, I don't know. They've been looking a little bit better. The trades have been still not going in their favor, but at least they're not sacrificing as much as they used to be, or they're getting more in exchange. But I don't know. Where is the sort of break-even point, ET, before Eternity in terms of actually straight-up winning fights?
I honestly think it's not now. It's got to be after we get maybe one more item on this Void Spirit, whether it be a Kai Assange, whether it be him getting level 20. Of course, 25 on Void Spirit is going to be your biggest power spike, but right now, I feel like unless they can get some killer angle where they find both Gardic and El Misho at the beginning, the fight's going to fall apart, and unfortunately, Roche is going to force them into an engagement, but find that Witch Doctor. Try to do anything you can. If worst case scenario, flip sides. Take the dire high ground right now. Unfortunately, you will be the ones forced to blink. You have to deal with your waves eventually if you are Eternity, but see if you can bait your opponents into vision, and they just saw Vitaly.
Moonlight's going to jump in. They see El Misho first. They're going to just try and blow up that tiny as quickly as possible, and they haven't found the kill yet. The Yule Scepter keeps him alive, and now they're going to turn. Isla actually is not dead just yet. It's only his courier that he lost, but Moonlight gets taken down. CDR in some trouble. They have to keep him alive. They can't do so. They lose the life stealer, and now ET, the fight is done. They've just got to run, but how far away can they get? Isla's looking for the TP. He does make it back, but it's not going to matter. The GG gets called, and Eternity have had enough. That's back-to-back games here where they just really aren't ready for these team fights.
Yeah, and I feel like it really does come back a lot to the CK pick. It comes back to the draft. It comes back to how the CK was just covered by so many bans on Hokori's side. It doesn't get sniped away from them. It doesn't seem like Eternity want to pick it up either. And then Vitaly just has a stellar performance. It just really doesn't get pressured. I feel like in going for this last pick, Lifestealer, yet again, seeing this hero on paper, thinking he can lane versus the Chaos Knight, and then just falling flat. I feel like a lot of praise has been given to this hero for his laning capabilities and what he can do as the game goes on, but we're just not seeing this life story get to that point. We're just seeing him get bullied. We're seeing him get pushed around. And of course, in this case, playing versus Illusions, it's just not a choice. And I mean, Vitaly, look at the KDA, 17-1-10, just absolutely tore up the server this time around. And they didn't bat an eye. They had 2 picks to change things up, to really try and push this CK to the side. But I feel like Eternity maybe a little bit too confident, maybe a little bit too arrogant when it came to the beginning of their draft. They were just like, okay, we just need to put our heads down, play our own game, hope it's okay. But in doing so, this CK just had an absolute ball of it.
Yeah, just way too strong there. As you said, 17-1-10, and just beautiful drafting. The kind of drafting from Hokori that they weren't always able to pull off against some of those D1 teams. Probably because captains in D1 have a little more experience and can see some of those maneuvers coming a little bit better compared to a team like Eternity, which, I mean, not to be too harsh on them, but they're a D2 team. They're new to North America, so the experience was maybe not quite there to see that maneuver coming. But what a beautiful move it was, right? We go from CK1 to CK3. You get Hume of Faceless Void that just slots perfectly in to do exactly what they needed. And Eternity could only ever deal with one of those two, right? If you killed Faceless Void, Vitaly killed you. If you killed Vitaly, then you get chronoed and you lose the fight anyway.
Yeah, and that really is the issue in the draft. At the end of the day, no matter what was going to go down, Hokori were going to be happy with their laning setup. They weren't going to be pushed. They weren't going to be forced. And when they have first pick as well, it's just not how it works. You need to be a little bit more dead set. You need to be a little bit trickier, as I like to say. When you have last pick especially, it's where flexibility in these teams, in these drafts, it's so important to catch your opponent in that disadvantageous position and then press it. Because I feel like for a first pick draft, Hokori were just brutal. They were just so strong and they weren't going to be unhappy. And then they get exactly what they want. So it just tops up with everything.
Mm-hmm. So another 2-0 sweep here, ET. We have had nothing but sweeps through the first 3 days, and I don't know, if Hokori play like this moving forward, we might see more sweeps out of them in the future. Meanwhile, for Eternity, rough loss to start things off. You get a little manhandled there, but still at least 2 more rounds for them to play with to try and get themselves back on track. So room for improvement, but don't hang your head too low right now if you're Eternity.
No, definitely not. And of course, versus these SA teams, I mean, even when the NA teams go up for these SA teams are so fast. They're so quick, especially with their support play. They're just everywhere. And I mean, in this series, we didn't even get to see a lot of it just because it was analog. It was a 6K net worth Kunkka at 10 minutes into the game, just making Fixer absolutely miserable. And maybe this is a huge lesson for Eternity as they go up versus some of these other South American teams. But Hokori certainly made it look easy here tonight.
Mm-hmm. So, Hokori move on to the high round matches in round 2, while Eternity do drop down to the lower matches. So, that is once again the lone series that we had on the schedule for today. So, we are going to be shutting things down here in just a little while longer. Before we go, though, do want to remind you all to follow pretty much everyone involved on social media. You can follow Thunderpick themselves at ThunderpickCO, Fissure at Fissure_Pro, and Beyond the Summit at BTS Dota. You can also follow us, if you want to. No pressure, but we will be very sad if you don't. I am at the Kmart. He is at ET Dota. So throw us a follow if you like the casting, or if you just want to yell at us. That works too. But that is going to do it. We should be shoving off here in just a little bit. Do want to make one last note, though, folks. We are going on hiatus for just a little bit. There are no matches tomorrow or the day after. Thunderpick Bitcoin Series returns on the 16th, if I have my dates correct there. If I'm wrong, someone will obviously put up the actual date. So no action for the next couple of days. We're taking a little bit of a break, but we'll be back on the 16th. So thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you in a couple of days.